All right, hello everyone. Welcome to our June 5th summer Q&A. I've been getting ready for this for about 2 weeks now, and so over this time, I have had many great questions come in. Let's see, I had 6 questions come in. So just thank you for all of you who sent in questions, and we'll go ahead and get started. So our first question is, what is the safest amount of time you can live in space? So the safest amount of time you can live in space is, I mean, it's a really great question, but the longest someone has stayed in space is 371 days, so just a little over a year. However, you can't stay up there like you can on Earth. The astronauts up there have to exercise daily, like a lot of times daily, like up to 3 hours, I believe. They have to exercise daily and in order to keep their muscle strength up because there's no gravity, of course, in space. So your usual muscles aren't having to go against that. So this exercising every day really helps astronauts stay up there longer. Um, Usually astronauts will spend 3 to 6 months on board the ISS. However, there have been longer stays than 6 months. So if you stay healthy up there, then you could stay a while. It just as long as you're exercising, eating good food, then you're good. All right. Our next question is, what is the safest amount of time you can live on Mars? So this was a bit of a tricky answer or a tricky question for me to answer, just because humans haven't we haven't been on Mars yet. I mean, we've sent rovers and stuff, but we haven't visited Mars. The furthest we've gone is only the moon. So, but we can take like a good guess on how long you could stay there, and our good guess would be probably about 4 years. Researchers had actually started to figure out this since we send a lot of missions there, such as like rovers and there's the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter orbiting Mars, and we have Curiosity and Perseverance orbit or not orbiting on the ground there. They're all taking data. So let's see. But the time you can stay on Mars varies just because of the all the different stuff that happens on there. The weather would cause problems because it gets really cold there sometimes, and it's really windy. So if you've ever like seen like a dust storm here on Earth, like just maybe like a wall of dust coming, and it's because that wind is pushing it. Imagine that, but worse. So that's what we're talking about, how the weather can impact your stay on Mars. So another variable would just be the resources on Mars. Without the resources we have every day on Earth, you would need to conserve them or like keep making new ones or something like that on Mars. So if you went to Mars now though, like without any of that stuff we have that that we have on Earth, so we're talking no oxygen, um, food, water, all of that stuff, you would only survive like 2 to 3 minutes without a suit, maybe less. All right, our next question. This one was that's a tricky part for me to say in here. I think I can do it, but I'll still put it up on the screen so you can tell. How long can a human survive without a spacesuit on the moon? In short, you really can't survive on the moon without a spacesuit. You would only last like 10 to 15 seconds, maybe a bit more, but there's no telling. The moon's temperature ranges from negative 256 degrees Fahrenheit to over 248 degrees Fahrenheit. It's a big difference. So we're talking the far side of the moon would be really cold, like really cold. But then the part that's in front of the sun would be really warm, hot. So it would be this way because the moon does not have an atmosphere and ozone layer like Earth does. Just another reason is I'm gonna pop it up on screen, but the moon's surface pressure is three to the, or, yeah, I'm just gonna pop it up there. But basically, the moon's pressure is much, much smaller than it is on what we experience on Earth. So, on Earth, we're used to just 1 bar, not that. So, eh, we're saying that the moon is pretty much a vacuum. All right, question 4. What is the term for the outermost layer of the sun? So before we say that term really quick, I'm going to talk about a mission that NASA sent to the sun a couple years ago. It's called the Parker Solar Probe. You might have heard of it. Basically, that became the first spacecraft to ever touch the surface of the sun. The surface of the sun, or the outermost layer of the sun, is called the corona. Um, the sun does have an atmosphere, just like Earth. It's just, well, I mean, imagine it way bigger, because think about how big the sun is. The corona is just the outermost part of it, out of many layers. And as I said, the Parker Solar Probe became the first spacecraft to touch the sun by making it to the corona. All right, our next question is, I heard that Texas A&M is leasing land near Johnson Space Center. Can you explain why? Yes, so Texas A&M has made an agreement with NASA to use some land near Johnson Space Center as a research facility. Texas A&M and NASA, they hope to research human spaceflight and the commercial space economy. NASA has allowed A&M and other universities to start using the land to work on space and aerospace industries. So we're saying, so those college students that go to like Texas A&M and stuff down in College Station, they're building a facility down near Johnson Space Center where where those aerospace engineers, uh, for college, the people who want to become those, um, they will probably take some trips up there, work with some actual NASA engineers and experts, and work and take a look on like the fine little details on how you do what you need to do. All right, question number 6. This is our last question, but then I have some more stuff to go over after this. How do you find the center of mass on a rocket? That's actually a really good question. So this is one I had a bit of trouble finding. I couldn't really find something on simple to explain for my viewers here. On the just searching stuff, I couldn't find anything simple. So we're going to talk about what I do with my 3D printed rockets to find the center of mass. It's just this is a very simple method. So what you can do is you tie string around the center of the rocket. So you would have to, like, say the rocket's like this tall. You'd just put it like right there in the center. So then what you would do is swing it around in the air. So basically, if it's stable like a straight line while it's swinging, just a nice straight line, then you know that the center of mass is good. It's right there in the middle. However, if it is, like, going, like, all over the place and stuff whenever you're swinging it in the air, it the center of mass is not where you need it to be. So, what I do to fix that, I will put, like, clay or Play-Doh, and you can put it in in the nose cone, and that will, essentially, it will just move the center of mass to where it needs to be. So, you just put it where the center of mass needs to change, and you got that there. Okay, so we had something exciting happen this morning at about, let's see, what was the time? It was 9:52 a.m. this morning. NASA and Boeing launched the Boeing Starliner rocket. So they had actually launched so it's on a Atlas Centaur rocket, and they had actually launched that rocket a couple years ago. I think it was 2 years ago. They launched that without people, just with a mannequin to, like, simulate what would happen. So they launched today. It was a good launch. All was going good. It's perfect. They're on schedule to dock with the ISS, the International Space Station, tomorrow. I'm not sure the time. Actually, it's probably going to be about, they said about 25 hours from launch. It's probably going to be about 10 in the morning. So they're going to stay there for at least 8 days. They're astronauts who are both experienced, been into space 3 or 4 times already, so they're really experienced. There were many delays, like, it's been a long time since they launched, um, but because they had oxygen valve issues early May, and then, hydrogen leak issues, let's see, when was it? Late last week. So, that's good. Now, on top of that, the FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration, just gave SpaceX the license to launch their Starship rocket tomorrow. So, at about so the launch window for Starship ITF-4, which is their fourth flight test of the Starship fully stacked, your actual Starship rocket, and then your super heavy booster. The launch window opens at 7 a.m. Central Time, 8 a.m. Eastern. So make sure to set your alarm clocks because this is going to be a really important launch as the next launch, ITF-5, will bring a lot of new milestones if 4 goes well. So the plans for ITF number 5 is so I gotta explain this. So SpaceX in Boca Chica, Texas is where they have their launch thing. So Boca Chica, they have their launch tower. It's tall and they have these big arms that they call chopsticks. So what they do to stack the vehicles, they take the heavy booster and they stack them, and so they move it onto the launch pad. Then they take the Starship rocket, the actual rocket itself, put it on top of the booster. So what happens there after it's all fully stacked and stuff, fueled up, they launch, it all goes normal. What happens your actual starship will do so it'll go up like this, re-enter like this because that's how you have a normal re-entry. Then it's going to do something called the belly flop maneuver. It gets on here during re-entry, goes down, and then right before landing, it would come up, fire its engines for a soft landing. They're hoping to do that in just water. They haven't tried to land yet. So we're still talking about the fifth flight for it, which is who knows when that's going to be. It's been all over the place with their schedule, but hopefully soon in the future. But then they plan to catch the super heavy booster with the chopsticks, catch it out in midair. Yeah, so that's their goal. They're going to hopefully try that on their fifth flight. And if all goes well on the flight tomorrow and on the fifth one, they will be a lot closer to landing humans on the moon with NASA's Artemis program. So it's really exciting to know this stuff. NASA is relying on SpaceX to get all of this taken care of, and we're hoping for good launches. And then if SpaceX does well, then we could be seeing man on the moon again in 2026. So it's looking really good. So, over the summer, we got some fun stuff going on. So, uh, lots of stuff going on. Let's see if I can pull up my list really quick. So we have already had a launch. Let's see, when was that? That was Saturday, I believe. So we had our June or Sunday, our June 2nd launch. We had launched the Estes Alpha 3 rocket, and it if you saw the video, you know the launch went pretty good. The onboard camera was really good, so you could see with the ejection charge, um, it shot off the bottom half of the rocket. So then the engine was somewhere, and the whole bottom half was all the way across the site from where we launched it. It was crazy. It was really, really windy. Onboard camera showed all of that. And then we landed a rough landing, but it survived after an hour of searching. We had finally found it. It was crazy. We did scrub our 3D printed launch though, because we forgot to take safety measures as like the center of mass. We forgot to do that. So I'm hoping that on I'm gonna check my calendar and see if that's a good day. So June 23rd, I think, we'll try the 3D printed rocket again. Let me check that because I don't want to be lying. Yeah, June 23rd. Um, I'll look at launching that 3D printed rocket again. So stay tuned for that. And we're going to keep going over some stuff. So on June 19th, I will have a rocket building workshop for the June 23rd launch. So I'll just go over the basic processes on how I build my rockets, design my rockets, and launch my rockets. That will hopefully be or not entertaining, hopefully entertaining, but also educational to my audience. So we are doing the Q&A today on July 4th. We all know this day, the American Independence Day. So I plan to do some fun stuff for this. I'm gonna launch 1 or 2 rockets that day. We're gonna make it a nice, good uh, video. So, oh, that brings me to our technical issues. So whenever we're live streaming some rocket stuff, like launching a rocket live streaming, I'm not sure we'll be able to live stream that. So what I'll probably do is just like I did with my first 3D printed rocket one, is I'll just take a normal video, edit it, and then just play it for y'all on a live stream like we're doing right now, since we were having those technical issues on Sunday. All right, July 22nd, I will have my very last rocket building workshop for our July 24th Summer Spectacular. And our July 24th Summer Spectacular will be we're playing. It's like a memorial of all of our rockets. So we're just going to play clips of every single rocket that I would have launched, clips of everything that I've done this summer, and then we will launch a rocket, brand new rocket, 3D printed, hopefully, a different one than the one I have sitting right now. But those are our events for the summer. So mark your calendars for all of this stuff. Go back to my last live stream, I believe, and all of those will be on there, so you can mark your calendars. Remember, set your alarm clock for earlier than 7 tomorrow, so you can watch that SpaceX launch their Starship, and hopefully all goes well. And thank you for watching.